All right, so I wanted to make a video to show how to use Framer. Okay, so this is probably made for complete beginners from Framer. I'm going to break down how to get a template like this one and how to edit it in your Framer environment. So first thing is the Framer website has a ton of cool templates. A lot of them are free. They look like this. So choose whatever one you want. You can click it, you can preview it, and also click use for free, and this will essentially copy it into your local account. Okay, so I've already done that though. I've chosen this one, Aventus, and I've already copied it into my account. So let's just clean this up. First thing you're going to see is these three tabs here: pages, layers, and assets. Pages gives you the different pages, like pricing page and the whatever is inside of that template you just copied. The one I have is actually a paid template, so it has lots of different pages to use. Yours may just be the home page, but that's fine. In the home page, I'm going to look at these things. This is kind of where you're going to spend most of your time in the layers tab. You can see right away there's desktop, tablet, and phone, and one of them is marked primary. So what this primary means is that if I change things in this one, it's going to then copy that over into these two other form factors. So you're going to spend most of your time in desktop. You can go into tablet. Say, for example, sort of in the larger environment, like the desktop, you can see there's 4 squares here. Maybe on the tablet, I didn't want it to be like this. I wanted it to be stacked, so I could then change it in the tablet specifically, and it would change in that environment. But just some general feedback. You want to spend most of your time in desktop because these things will automatically copy over into the others. Yep, let's move on. So in desktop, I can see right away there's two, this purple icon here means effect. Okay, so smooth scroll and sections navigation. So smooth scroll, if I go here, I can like scroll down, and scroll down, and scroll down. It's very smooth. It's not kind of chunky. So that's what these things are here, these purple kind of effects. I'm going to go over what's in here later. Let's just go through these kind of different things here. So these are effects. You can see here, there's a bunch of blue icons. And if you pay attention, this one is a vertical stack and this is a horizontal stack. The way this icon looks is actually quite important. So if I show this one here, let's see, you can see in it's looking at the hero section, which is this, the first thing you see. And then here you can see the container has 2 stacks. And again, this one is vertical. And I can see here that there's like vertical things in here. There's actually 2 things that are stacked, the text and the image. So if I show you these 2 things, zoom in a little bit. So we're looking at this. So this is the actual vertical stack here. It has this text and this text. Okay, that's the text and it has this image. This is actually not text, it's an image. So this is why it's called a vertical stack, because these 2 things are up layer like stacked vertically, right? I could, if I wanted to, I can change this to a horizontal stack and it's going to change how it looks. Okay, so now it is horizontal. So I just wanted to point out that these little icons actually do represent something. This one is vertical stack. And you can see here there's a lot of horizontal stacks. So if I go to the horizontal, it's going to be the same exact thing. You see these cards are horizontally stacked, which means stack, stack, stack this way. I can change that to an up and down stack. It's going to change how it looks. Of course, I don't want that. Okay, so next we'll talk. These are called stacks essentially. So if you click here, you can see the layout. You have this stack or grid. Stack means these kind of auto formatting organization, whereas a grid would be kind of like you have more control over something. And let's actually break down a little bit more into these things here. So let's go back to this hero box, just to stay on one thing for the simple kind of intro video. We have this shades. So you can see this template has a lot of things called shades. These are essentially these kind of like colors in the background. So watch, if I delete one, it'll change, you get rid of that color, the blue. Okay, so pretty basic. These are, I think, probably images or something like that. Let's have a look. They're actually just like boxes with colors. And so if I want to change the color, I'd go into this kind of details menu here, and I can change it to like a blue or a pink or a red or whatever I want. Undo everything. So that's what these are, shades here. And you can see these are atop of this stack. And then inside of this container stack, this is this main area where it's going to have the text here, the content box that we just talked about. Okay, so the text. And it has this button. So it's important that I explain what this is now. So before I said, these are effects. Okay, so it has this kind of like strange purple icon. You can see here the button has that same strange purple icon. And at this point, I should probably explain what that means. So in Framer, most of the time you're going to be in this layers tab looking at the different layers in the organization and then these details here. But there's actually one other really important thing called a component. Okay, so let's just use this button as an example of a component. So we have this button here, and you can see in this tab here, it has this button title, okay, and it has the link. So I could change, this one's going to the pricing section in this page. I could change this to a website if I want. I can also change the title. But the question is like, how would I change the color? How would I change the size? There's no actual way to do that here. That's because this icon here means it's a component. Okay, and that's this is the second area you're going to spend a lot of time in. So the main kind of page layout and also these components. Essentially what a component is, it's an object that you can reuse many, many times. So like a button is a good example of this, because if I make a button once, I'm going to probably want to reuse it in many different areas, and I'm not going to want to have to set the colors for each one. Because what if I want to change, okay, I want all my buttons to go from black to white. Well, then I would have to go into each button and change that individually. Whereas components, I could change just the main object component, and it would automatically change throughout all of the buttons in all of my pages. So that's what this is here. You can see the actual setup of this is very similar to the last thing we looked at, right? It's going to have these stacks that we talked about. It has the text here. But essentially, it's like a mini website inside the website. It's a mini object inside of the website. So now I can start changing the colors, and I can start changing the different sizes and things like that. So this is called a component. I'll show you another example of this because it's quite important. So for example, here, oftentimes there's like a, let's scroll down. It's like a team section. And so this kind of component is really helpful for the team section. Here we go. So I'm assuming this here, what is this? This is the speakers. Yeah, so this is the speakers. Containers, let's have a look at this. Event planner, image box, cards. Okay, here we go. So like I said, as you can see here, it had that same icon, the component icon. Essentially what's happened is he has one component here. These are all the same component. They're all the same thing. You see card, our speaker, card, our speaker, card, our speaker. They're all the same component, but they have different images. So the way that works is you first build this component, and then you can copy paste it 5 times. And then for each one, you can change all of the details in this, right? So for example, this one, it looks like it has an image, which is this guy's face. It has the architecture, whatever that means, as his Facebook link, his GitHub link, his LinkedIn link, all the different things that are associated with this person. Again, this is all the same object. This person has just changed the variables. And if I want to change kind of the sizing, you can see here he has different sizings. This is for the tablet, the phone. And again, this is the reason why this is important is I can change these things and it'll automatically populate across all of the different form factors, across all of the different components I've used. Like if I have this for 10 of my team members, I can automatically change all that stuff. The final thing I'll say about components that's a little bit tricky are these styles. Essentially, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to add a new style. So let's have a look. If I click this plus button, I don't know, styles, let's see, where am I looking for this? Here's what I want to do. Text. So you would add essentially one of these, and it's going to be a variable. Let me just pause for a second so I can find this. There we go. Okay, I found it. So in this text section, you see if I go here, it says create variable. This is a very important thing because, let's put it here. You see, here are all the things we talked about before, right? So the image for his face and the text and the Facebook, these are all the variables. And so this is what you're going to see on the main page. And so this part's really important because if you want to have a link inside of your button, you need to add it as a variable so that every button, I can then set that to a specific page or something like that. So again, I'm just going to undo this so I don't break anything. So these variables are really important. To get to it, you click this plus button, create variable. And here's giving you the options because I'm in the text section. But really, whatever section you're in is going to give you, it's going to essentially put that in there for you. So I'm going to undo this again. Okay. And then I think the final thing I should probably talk about here is, let's see, so we kind of broke down the different form factors. We talked about the different organization, the different types of things here. So the hero has the shades, which is images. It has the components here, which is organized by stacks. It has the components here. So the final thing you can look at is this assets tab. This is important for kind of more general stuff. So it has all those, for example, the buttons. You can see they're all organized here. So if you wanted to quickly see all the different types of buttons or components you have, so here's all the buttons, here's all the cards, like we were looking at before. These are all he has a ton of components here, which is really the best way to do it. It takes a little bit more time to do this as components, but it's really helpful in the long run. It has all these icons. So all of the different kind of objects that you're going to reuse many, many times are in this assets tab. There's also this though, which is really important. These are your styles. So for example, all of the fonts, the different font sizes you have, the different font families you have, it's all here. For example, links, he has the different colors for the links. This is also very important, the colors. So if you're going to reuse many colors, if you're going to reuse colors many times in your page, then you would add them into this. And then when you're changing colors, these essentially become variables and you can select these as you're going through it. So I know that was very fast, but that's a quick breakdown of Framer and what it's like to use Framer. Um, my personal feedback on Framer is that it's great, but this component thing is a little bit tricky to understand. But once you understand everything, it's very streamlined and it will save you a lot of time. So I hope you like this video and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.